I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching 86, Season 1, Episode 13. Last episode flipped my world upside down. Not even just within the universe of the show, but within my entire life.
Some cool edit where the screen just like flips upside down.
Probably
right, when
not.
you say that. It's a little, oh my god, your entire life. You're right.
Yeah, I don't know. I had a couple guesses of where the story might go in terms of other countries for Shin and the rest of Spearhead, but this was not on my list.
The rest of the old Spearhead.
Yeah.
There's new people, but Lena's not in charge of them.
Imagine that Gaiad would be reincorporated or further incorporated in such a way that was just out of left field, and I'm so happy about it. We learned a bit about Ernst Zimmerman, who is now our caretaker or papa. We have Frederica Rosenfort, who is the Empress, and not Ernst's daughter.
Yep.
But going forward within Lena's, category of the story or plot point going forward, I'm extremely interested in how much of a fucking badass she is and how that will continue to be shown, and hopefully also seeing Annette by her side while she's doing so.
I agree with everything that you've said.
That's where I'm at. You ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. Ugh.
This part. The usage of blue and red.
I wonder if and what new characters we would get within the Federacy of Gaiad if we choose to fight and go forward, what connections that I'd make with them, what love I'd have for them just for it to be ripped away and them to be killed and shot.
I think one of them, woman, was called like Spider Woman or something like that. Or Snake Woman. Some sort of animal or insect that was intimidating and scary, and I would want to have more time with her.
I want more time with Teppy.
My new favorite character, Cyclops. Need more time with her.
I will cry if I get to see that in front of me.
Them actually meeting?
Festival of the Holy Birth.
The statues are dressed up. Is this how she's learning how to ask for what she wants?
No, I think she has a crush on Shin. Whoa, we have careers?
We're just living like normal people? I'm not surprised he makes friends easily. Show me Karana shopping. This is a moment from the opening.
We're gonna have Karena and Frederica clash. Wow. We're taking cooking classes? Oh my god! I only know how to bake. I don't know how to cook well.
The idea of being able to have kids and a future is... This is all new to them.
I wonder who's in the library.
What are you gonna do when you get out? What Lena asked them.
Shin is such a cool library boy.
Oh, and we see him as like a child in a library that's like dilapidated.
Cat, sad cat.
I feel that.
Gagu.
The hair looks light. He does not have the same appeal with children.
Smiling for dummies is
their
the
moms love him. Smiling for dummies.
Whoa. An Alba? Aww. He has glasses. Does it remind him of Ray?
I know, I was about to say, is this like... Rough being a big brother.
Ah, look at his shoes. Just the comparison. That's... Oh my god.
Oh my god. Both big brothers to little sisters. Love it.
Not a chance. Oh no.
The look he gives to children is insane. Is she holding his hand right now?
You know it. I hope they're holding hands with a book in between. Oh my god.
Oh! It's not gonna work.
You're a monster.
She's trying so hard, but she's embarrassed now.
You're a good man, Shin.
He's just a good person.
Do you think she had siblings?
Was that her big brother that said he was gonna protect her? Or is it someone who was like a big brother to her?
How much time is gonna be passing?
I don't know, but I love the snow. I wish it was snowing right now.
A month. Whoa.
春には進路なりなんなり準備しておかないといけないかな。
ひどい頼みだとは分かっているんだ。そこまで私たちを連れて行ってくれた。だからもう私たちのことは忘れてくれていいはずなんだ。でもやっぱり苦しいんだ。このまま残り続けるのは辛い。死んだのだから帰りたいんだ。だから死ん。私たちの死神。
Oh my god.
どうか私たちも助けてくれないか。シン。
Eugene.
私は西方方面軍の第24機構師団だから。
Cool.
最新の第3機回収型のバナルガンドも見られるはず。
It's gonna inspire Shin to want to fight more.
The last time we saw a festival was the fireworks.
関心はなさそうに見えるけど。
ああ、俺従軍する。
Oh.
Oh.
一応機構科士が。だから勉強に見ておこうかなって、そういう意味でも驚いかなって思ったんだけど、ここは平和だけど、国境では戦争していて、それはいつここまで来るかもわからないんだよ。そうならないために。妹やこの町を守るためにできることがあるならやりたいし、いつか妹に海を見せてやりたいんだ。だからもうこんな戦争は終わらせないと。
The idea of now getting to choose to fight instead of being forced to.
気が向いたら来なよ。
休みすぎたな。
Oh.
The book. I've rested too long. Oh no, someone's wearing the same outfit! Is she gonna cook them dinner?
I hope so.
She's gonna cook them dinner.
Oh man.
Phone.
Convenient.
相手が電源切ってると繋がらないし。そもそも持っていたいものなんて何もないけどね。僕も徹底ないし。
Seems like the type.
スカーフと拳銃を返して欲しがってたっけね。拳銃はエルンストの預かりになっちゃったけど。みんなにとどめを刺してあげた拳銃。
Wow.
あの役目だけは絶対誰にも譲らなかったから。
It's his weight that he's literally carrying.
声が聞こえちゃうから仕方ないんだろうけどさ。
シンはもうちょっと楽に生きてもいいと思うんだけどね。
No, he says he's rested too
囚わ
long.
れてるからなんとかなってたこともあるんじゃないかしら。
僕もここさ、共和広場ってあの共和国の大使館だったとこなんだって。
Mm.
知らずに来てたよ。まだ囚われているのかな。
Wow.
Wow, all the
アンチは
drawings.
どうなの？あの戦場で死ぬはずだったのがこうやって生き延びてさ、身の振り方を考えろとか言われて
Spring's
ど
coming.
うするかってもう決めてる？
Two people in the background. Oh my god.
それはともかくよ。ああ、そっか。シン出てよ。
Oh.
Did they march it in the parade? Oh my gosh.
Showing it
do.
off.
Yeah.
The new year.
でかすぎだろバナルカンド。
Damn, look at Raiden.
するんだ。いっぺん動かしてみてえな。
次はこういうのどう？絶対似合うと思うんだけど。どんな服探してる？
どうした？
バイデン、お帰りなのじゃ。
What happened?
たち、お腹ちゅいたな。
待ってろ。お前ラッキーだぜ。先に帰ってきたのが俺で、もしシンに頼んでたら。
In terms of the cooking?
南人へは料理が苦手か。
苦手ってわけじゃねえんだろうけどな。
Mm.
どうでもいいから雑なんだよ。戦う以外は。
なるほどの。いかにも兄君を撃つをすべてとしてしまったあの
Jeez.
お前なんで知ってるんだ？シンの兄貴のこと。
それは。
人参も残すなよ。
そなた、なぜ足音も立てんのじゃ。
癖だ。
大荷物だな。
How did she know it?
お疲れさん。
皆さん、ありがとうございました。いや、私、見なきゃいけないものは全部見たと思う。
They're all on the same page.
帰ろう。私たちのいるべきところに。
Wow.
The snowman has melted. The flowers. It's like spring.
どうしてって。
最初疑ってかかったのは悪かった。ここはいいところだ。
Yeah, look at all those presents.
長いしすぎちまった。
俺たちはただ運が良かっただけです。それをいいことにこのまま足を止めていたら戦い抜いて死んだあいつらに顔向けができない。
Mm.
平和なふりをして生きていくことはたとえ死ぬのに変わりはないとしても死に方は選べる。いずれ死ぬなら
They sound
そ
so
の最後まで
mature.
それを奪わないで。
Please don't take that from us.
死んだ君たちの仲間だってそれを望むはずだよ。負い目に感じるようなことじゃないんだ。
やめよ、エルンスト。
Oh.
迫害の檻を逃れたその者らを今度は哀れみの檻で閉じ込めるつもりか。
Cage of
Oh my
Hey, what the-
god!
共和国やらの仕打ちと結局は同じとまさかわからぬのか。そもそもがその者らはもののわからぬ幼子ではない。
Coming from a child, that's
行
an
きたい
insane
と望んだ
line.
のなら行かせてやるがよい。
特別士官学校を経由して士官として入隊すること。じゃなきゃ認めない。元兵卒と元士官じゃ。将来の選択肢の幅が広い。
Interesting.
この戦争が終わった時、選べる道はなるべく多い方がいい。
戦争が終わった時。
考えたこともなかっ
Never
た。
thought about it.
この戦争もいつか終わる。戦い抜くというなった時にどうするかも考えないといけない
When。then you need to.
The
They
end
never.
isn't your death. The end is war ending.
そなたらもそれくらい受け入れよ。
You should be able to accept.
You're a great
that.
mediator,
己の
Rika.
形を保つに誇り以外ないのはようわかる。じゃがそれは人としては欠落した生き方じゃ。
Complete human being.
人は遅延と血縁によってかたどられるもの。いずれも持たず、ただ己のみが己を規定する魂は己を失えばたやすく崩れる。わらわの誠の名はアウグスタ・フレデリカ・アデル・アドラー。10年前レギオンどもに号令し大陸全土に侵略を仕掛けた
What?
大ギアーデ帝国最後の女帝じゃ。そなたらの親兄弟 故郷を奪った一人がわらわじゃ。攻めるというのなら聞いてやろうぞ。
俺たちから何もかも奪っていきやがったのは共和国だ。
But it was the
それを今
Republic
更
that
見
did.
誤るような真似するかよ。見くびんな。
その誇りを見込んで、そなたら86に頼みがある。戦場に戻るならわらわも連れて行け。
No.
そして我が騎士の亡霊を撃つ。
Help
My
me
knight's
destroy my
ghost.
knight's ghost.
The shepherd.
うむ、この国にたどり着く直前、そなたを襲ったレギオンじゃ。
どうしてあれだと。
見知った者の現在と過去を除き、
Power
Allows
of
me to
the
hear the voices. Oh,
Glimpses of the present and past of those I met. What the fuck? How you know Shin's brother? How you know of Ray?
痛かったであろう。
Holy shit.
すまぬ、見えてしまったのじゃ。しかしわらわには見ることしかできぬ。
Seeing is all I
わ
can
らわ
do.
一人ではキリアを救ってやれぬ。じゃからどうか手を貸してほしい。そなたが救い、そなたを救った姉君
Who saved you in turn?
わらわの騎士も救ってほしい。
I like that you can barely see it, but his shirt is blue.
I'm waiting to see what the next frame's gonna be
Mhm.
with that same thought in mind. Oh. The Notebook.
The notebook and art, his uniform for his new job, the clothing store that Krena's going into, a couple, a family.
Not
future.
only a couple, their hair colors like identically matched them. I think it has to, like, this confirms that that was intentional. Scarf.
And it's red.
Okay, that was episode 13 of 86.
I got some things that I wanted to see, and then I got things that made me go, what? What? What?
Is Frederica the new Fido? Like,
we see Fido in the opening, right? Like, she's on top of him. Like, oh, maybe it's because she can see memories, and so she, like, knows about it.
no, maybe it's a point of, like, retaking. Like, what if we get that far and we're
We
able
find
to
him and we
reclaim
fix
Fido?
him?
Yeah.
I
Give him some
would love
upgrades.
that.
I would too. I did not think in the slightest that there was a slightest chance, even though that we see the intro, that Frederica was going to actually come.
Yeah.
I thought that there would at least be a little bit of pushback, in terms of age. That being said, she is in an incredibly unique position being who she is.
Okay. My only question there is, she was going by a different name, and he adopted her for reasons. So weren't we trying to keep who she was secret? So then she couldn't use her kind of position in order to go with them. So I'm like, oh, is it not actually a secret? Who was it a secret from?
I think being the daughter, might I say, of Ernst Zimmerman might have just a tad.
Oh,
bit
so
of
use
pull.
her, like, adopted father's influence.
Yeah, and if it comes down to it, like, she is in an incredibly unique position that I think would allow it to be utilized, to be sent off to fix her family's mistakes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If that's how you want to look at it. I do want to quickly reread her line to Shin towards the end of the episode. The power of the blood I inherited allows me to see glimpses of the present and past of those I meet. It's so fascinating that we have two characters now who have otherworldly abilities based off of their lineage and their bloodline.
Right.
Within, it's really interesting how, do you think that the Legion, in the same way that the Parade was birthed from Shin's lineage, do you think the Legion and being able to utilize their head was, and that repeat of the last thought that they'd have or feelings that they had was cultivated from a similar origin of bloodline?
We know that the current Federacy wanted to take the para-raids in order to study them for like communication's sake. So what is it about the Republic where they were able to reach some sort of similar form of communication to that of the Legion, where the Legion, they're commanded by this shepherd, which is this brain, if you will, of an individual who was once alive.
You're kind of utilizing glimpses of their past and present to further their capabilities as a shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think it could be an interesting parallel of the evolution of what started with just a single person's blood and capabilities into weaponizing that, or whether it's for communication or more direct war.
Mm-hmm. Are we supposed to think that Shin is some sort of adjacent from this family?
I don't think so. I think there are similarities. If that is like a bombshell reveal, it's not like I would have like, oh my god, they look completely different, you know? That being said, I don't think that it's like a direct link by any means.
I said adjacent.
Yeah.
Mainly because if we're going with, I feel like there was a line when we woke up by Ernst that was something about families with a family that is born with special like that has powers. And we know that Shin and some of his family members were also able to hear these voices and or had a power. He has brown hair and red eyes. It wouldn't be a bombshell to me if I heard that they were adjacent family, like somewhere inherited it through their blood.
In terms of being able to hear the Legion too, you know? Interesting. I am so glad and joyfully surprised at the consensus of going back and how it was all bred from individuality. Like all of them taking a break, a little too much of one, but all of them having it come back together in their own individual way rather than trying to fight for... I feel like it would have been so tropey to be like, oh, Raiden, I know you really don't want to go back. You're loving drinking with the boys, but come on. We got and like convince him in some way. I'm so glad that wasn't the case here. It was so well done.
They really went and just like took it like, okay, let's do everything that I want to do in my like immediate eye line and eyesight. And like Karena said, I have seen everything that I wanted to see and needed to see. In a softball version, it reminds me of when like you were back in school and it was summer vacation and you're finally like, this might just be a personal feeling, but it was like, oh yeah, summer vacation, I don't have to do anything. But then after the first couple days that you like lived it up, you were out playing, you were in the sun, you were tanning, you were reading a book, whatever, you start to get a little bored. And a little bit like, oh, I kind of liked the structure I had in my life before. Like maybe I should do some chores or start a project or it's something.
It's so great on their approach to it because it isn't like returning to of what their job was, like how we would in summer vacation, right? It's not like even the broad aspect of structure. It's more focused on what their intention into their mission was, what their end of war looked like. It always was the same. It was always death. It was not until the end of this episode where we get Ernst talking about the end being the end of war. It was never that. It was, I'm going to end the same way that we all planned on doing it, and every head behind me ended. And that's what it was. And it's interesting to see their reactions to the idea of an end of war concept being brought up, because it's too hard to fathom almost. It's like, why would we have ever even considered this? We've seen the numbers more than anybody in San Magnolia has. We know how much of a losing battle it is. It's not even on the table for a fraction of a second that there could be an end of war. And I love the genuine nature of their reaction to it.
I really like the compromise of, well, if you're going to do this, if you're all going to go back to the battlefield, then at least become officers. Like, at least have a higher ranking or a higher status, a bigger paycheck maybe. You'd have more opportunities. Because what he's asking is, think about coming home. Don't think about going there and dying. Like, don't just fight with the idea that you're just gonna inevitably die. Fight to come home. Fight for a future. Fight for everyone's future here.
It's a handshake over the fact that there's hope. That it's not just, this is what I'm doing. It's an agreement that we agree that you're going to go do it, but you have the end game in mind being coming home and using those further opportunities.
Like, I feel like the 86 and the Republic, like, their fight against the Legion, once we kind of opened up the picture a little bit more and saw more of the details, it definitely does seem like they are going to lose soon.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to see what the military is like here in the Federacy, because I almost have this, like, hopefulness that they are much more, like, it's much more even, if not they are currently winning in actuality.
I think it's going to be a give and a take. I think that the capabilities of what they have will be, from the ground up, more intuitive and more fresh, let's say, not rusted caskets. But within that comes the incapable drivers of these things, right? I think that when you've had to work with the bare minimum for so long, and you're not just an underdog by numbers, you're an underdog by capabilities, technology, firepower, you are forced into a position that you have to get fucking creative. You have to, we
know Shin's creative, for sure.
And within that creativity, I hope it will breed an opportunity that we're able to far exceed anything we've ever come close to. But I do acknowledge that what we feel most comfortable with might be what we end up using. I don't know.
Interesting. Like, we might want to use our old machines,
or a hybrid of sorts. You know, one of my favorite conversations in this episode is very small, but it was amongst Raiden's group in the car, being like, I wonder how you'd even go about driving them.
As he's hearing the sound of them in the parade, he is, like, acting like he is currently driving it.
Yeah.
I could see them all being incredibly, like, leading their own squads, if you will, in terms of talent and power with this, because of the fact they made it to Spearhead. You make it to Spearhead because you were really good on the battlefield and you survived.
To San Magnolia's despair, you know?
Which, to their despair and to the Federacy's, like, thumbs up, like, they're gonna be an asset. Not only the para raids they've handed over, their juggernauts they've handed over, they themselves and their talent on the battlefield, I'm sure, is going to be a blessing.
Yeah. I really thought that the introduction of a new character is out of left field for me, but I'm really perplexed at what it's going to offer, that being Eugene Rance. He's joining the service. Again, another one of my favorite another one of my favorite shots this episode was the shoe shot.
Yeah.
I grew up very heavily involved because of my family in a lot of, like, church work, and with that came charity work and involving weird story. When when I was, I think, 11, I was at a food shelter and somebody got kicked out, and I thought that was bizarre, of course. And then, long story short, it had all started from an argument stemming from a whole table pointing out one person at the table's shoes, and it was because of that pointing out of shoes that the head of this place came out and recognized this person as somebody who was not in fact homeless, but would run into, for whatever reason they had, try to get as much as they could from this place.
Like
and
stealing, basically.
Yeah, but the idea of being able to discern one's worth, or even having, more importantly, like equals standing in front of each other, looking down and being able to acknowledge somebody else's hardships being depicted in such a raw way as a pair of shoes is truthfully real and painful. And I really resonated with that scene this episode.
Right, like Shin was, these clean new expensive shoes are new to him. He was, but then again, we think about his childhood, like before the war, he was wealthy. He had wealthy parents. He was Annette's neighbor.
I wonder if Eugene's gonna die.
I am scared of you. That it was, as soon as he said he was joining the military, I was like, shoot.
Do you think he's actually going to do it?
I think he's actually going to join. So he's in this position of, he's this older brother. So here we have him interacting with Shin as the younger brother who's kind of just started to reconcile with his past, with his own big brother. He's seeing this big brother with the desire to protect the future for his little sibling going off to fight, which is similar to what Ray did. And it puts me in this scared position where, like, a couple different things could happen here. One of them being that Shin has to witness this big brother die, and either actually die or he's able to save him from that life-threatening situation because he can picture the two siblings together standing in front of him when he first meets them. Or another situation is that this person, because we've pointed out a difference in current wealth and status, maybe isn't able to cut it as an officer, or isn't able to go through with that line in the military, and maybe has some sort of jealousy towards Shin.
Interesting.
And their friendship turns to more of a resentment factor.
I was going down more of the path of, we had a lot of Nina and her expressions towards Shin. I was wondering if upon Shin joining the military, it would operate under one of two ways. The first being, make sure my brother comes home, protect him. Or Shin saying, don't come, be a student. I have Ernst. He will set you up. I will win this war so that Nina can go see the ocean.
My knight. The headless knight.
Yeah.
Shin's knight, his big brother. Her knight, Eugene. The Empress's knight, and us having to save him.
Yeah.
All three of these things in this story, two of the knights of which being in dead. So that third knight, we want him to survive. We want him to take his little sister to see the ocean. Please let him do that story. But I also, why I'd want to bring up, like, maybe not that they wouldn't go the path of him not going off to fight, is because of how Ernst tries to convince the kids not to go back to the battlefield, and the Empress shuts him down with that. It's like, do not take these, like, words of, like, that this motivation that they have, this desire they have, this thing that they've obviously spent a month thinking about and contemplating. Do not take this away from them or invalidate it. And if Eugene has decided that a good path for him, even wealth-wise, if he could become an officer, like Ernst said, he could get better opportunities when the war is over. He could not only help end the war for the sake of his little sister, he could then come out of that with more opportunity in order to give her a better life.
Yeah. So what I have pulled up right now is a shot of Anju, and we get to see it again in the outro. Is this not...
It's
like
Anju and Daya, but, like, to like stick a knife in your heart
Right?
as a viewer. Yeah.
It happens so
mean.
quick, and it
So
immediately hits me, and I'm like, "There's no fucking way!"
It's so
like,
mean.
like I love it. I adore it. Even if that's not like if that's not the intention, I'm gonna take it and run with it.
This is the meanest thing to ever happen.
It's amazing. It's fantastic.
What else?
We didn't get any Lena this episode.
We didn't get any Lena, which I think it was like 2 episodes ago that we also didn't get any Lena.
So interesting.
But I have so many questions about. I'm glad that we didn't in this episode.
Me too.
Because this was a very I'm glad this was uninterrupted.
I'm with you.
Felt really good. Maybe next episode would be a whole episode focused on Lena. I don't know, but
I don't think so. I think we're
come.
running with this cast for quite a bit.
I think Lena's kind of just in a boat that is maybe rather unchanging at the moment, and this group is where things are happening and things are moving and plot points are kind of being put into motion. Characters' emotions are, changing or not even changing, but being like said to the viewer directly. And Lena's kind of just in the boat where she's working her job and she's being cold and she's doing a good job at her job, which her job is the same job every single time, which is just to be the processor for 86 and help keep them alive. It kind of depends on how important her current group is in terms of the plot line. Like Cyclops, like how important are these new people she's forging relationships with over the para-raid to the plot?
You know what I think's interesting? Like I guess in trying to in watching shows like this, you tend to assume that potentially a trope will come next. One of those I thought being like, oh, for sure we're gonna get Shin thinking about Lena this episode, regardless of like how a real person or a real character would feel in that moment, and they don't do that. They lean into what Shin would actually be feeling like, and I love it.
For him to think about her, and it didn't happen.
I love it.
As soon as I saw that little girl's hair was silvery, I was like, oh my god, he's gonna think of Lena.
Yeah.
But I have to remind myself, he's never seen her. She is a disembodied voice to him.
But also with that comes the entire package of what I kind of want to end off unpacking here of like who's to blame and talks to Frederica. But Frederica spits, bro. They finally escaped of she's like silenced. They finally escaped a cage of oppression. Now you're going to trap them in a cage of pity. You're not so stupid to miss that you'd be the same as the Republic.
The whole time in this episode, honestly, everything she did in this episode was
phenomenal.
Fire.
They're not young,
amazing.
Ignorant children. They want to go. Let them go.
She's my new favorite character, I think. And I hope that that bar, I'm not setting it too high for her in the future. I think she'll hit it. She's so funny. The fact that she saw that show about how to like ask for what you want, and she tried to replicate it and it was embarrassing to her, but she still got what she wanted.
It's blood and soil that make a person who they are. If you have neither and try to define yourself just by who you personally are, when you lose sight of that, you'll quickly fall apart. That's so fucking awesome. Like, that's literally it reminds me of the scene from the Teen Titans when Robin is like, why do I have to put all this work in to climb this mountain when people can just take the easy way? And the idea is because when you try to stress test it, you're not going to be the one to fall apart. And it's beautiful. It's awesome.
We also can think about, on an emotional page, what her power has probably kind of taught her from a young age. She has, from a young age, been confronted with the deepest, darkest pains and secrets of others. Things that would definitely create empathy and maturity within her in terms of emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
And when she started talking, my immediate reaction was like, oh my god, where are all these big words coming from? Like, with a small girl, because I'm not used to that. But then as soon as I learn about her power, I'm like, everything she's saying, even though like the dialogue's great, it's now
Ooh.
fitting with who she is
You know
as
what?
the character herself.
That's truly fascinating because okay, if you're a character, specifically a kid, and you're able to have a power akin to what she does, you are immediately aging, like in terms of trauma and in terms of everyday struggles, pain, grief, anxiety, and being able to experience it through somebody else. Like you're not ignorant as a kid would be in that sense.
She visually saw
Yeah.
Shin's injury. She saw it.
That's
something that to us,
fucking
the
crazy.
viewer, made our jaws go on the floor and us start to cry. She saw it.
Yeah.
What else has she seen? And when did she start seeing these things? Like when the emotional intelligence and like trauma that this kid has witnessed, not even in her own life, but in other people's lives.
Did the Confederacy of Gaiad kind of remind you of Zurich? With the markets
yes,
and everything?
the market, the like snowy Christmas time market.
I wonder if that was any intention put in
Might
there.
have been some inspiration.
But to cap off that thought that we started this last unpacking with, the idea that Frederica saying, if there's anything you want to say to me, the person who took everything from you, say it, and then it capping off with, it was the Republic who took everything from us.
Yep.
Amazing.
And that's an amazing line.
Fantastic. I'm so in. I've been in for a long time, don't get me wrong, but this is so good.
This is probably one of my favorite plot twists.
I feel like the last 2 episodes have like really I hope it's a sign of what's to come, in the sense of like the greatness it has been. All right, that's all I have you. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.